This is a bunk bed. It may not look like it, but I got all the lumber. This is poplar. This would be a fun build. My daughter's asked me to build a bunk bed for 2 boys. This will be a special sort of bunk bed because the youngest child is still in a crib. And so we're not going to put the front rail on the bottom bunk just yet. So the crib will be able to be slid in and out of the bottom. We'll take the existing crib, cut off the legs, and put casters on it so it can be rolled in easily both in and out. So here are my rough plans. So this will be end here, piece here. This will be the top rail section. This will be the end section. That'll be like ladder going all the way up. This will be the end piece. This will be the far opposite rail. And so we're not showing the front rail, which will be open at the moment. And then we'll have a little stairs here to a landing, and then we'll have a little short little lean ladder to get into the bunk. So we know that the this inside is going to be 41 by 76, so that's what we need to start with. And then at the appropriate time, when the younger child is ready for the bottom bunk, we'll add the outside rail, add the bed, and you're good to go. Top bunk will have stairs and ladders as typical, so let's get started.
When cutting several pieces the same length, be sure and measure one, cut it precisely to the measurement, and then use that board, as I'm doing here, to measure the next board to cut. That way all your boards are the same size.
So in my construction, I'm going to have these end pieces framed like here, and I'm going to have these cross members be like the ladder steps. They'll here, then I have a spacer, and then I have another ladder step here. And so the issue was, how was I going to connect these into here other than just gluing? And I thought I'd add dowels as a feature for give a technique that would be both supportive and architectural, add a little texture to it. So I built this jig just so I can put this on here and drill the holes in the exact same places in all my joining connectors. It's nothing but a piece of the board, and I have this spacer that I bought for $1.39. And it's a 3/8 inch inside, 1/2 inch outside. So you drill a 1/2 inch hole, insert those, so you'll drill the exact same spot all the time. So this is the very first corner. So I have my jig on top of the cross member, and this is the vertical board here. And then on the bottom, I have a board that will prevent the bust out or the rip out. So I've made sure that vertical rail and the horizontal rail are exactly square, because this is the first one, it's the most important one to get square to begin with. After I do this one, I'll go to the other end and do the top down there, and then I should be able to have alignment on all the way down. Now we're going to drill the other side of the top piece. Having an issue with my jig. Alright. I'm gonna have to glue this down a little better. What I have is not working adequately. Okay, so my jig, I had a little issue as my drill bit was drilling through the holes. My little collars or sleeves were spinning and getting, because it's so tight, and they were pulling it out. I didn't glue this in. Now I got me some glue. This happened to be Loctite. It's a CA glue. You've seen Izzy Swan use that a bunch in the CA glue, but he really doesn't know what it's called. CA glue stands for cryogenics, photogenics, astronauts use it. That's what it is. So I have all these dowelings. I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I got 36 dowels on each side. So a total of 72. The fastest way is to plane them off. I use my flat blade saw to cut them reasonably flush, but instead of sanding, which we know everybody hates, I'm gonna just plane them. So let me show you how we do it. Now you don't hear it. Come around the other way, just to make sure. Last one. You hear it tick, then you don't hear it tick. Smooth as a baby's behind.
This is one end of the bunk bed. This is the one that has all the slats all the way up. The other end where the stairs will be will have a solid piece of plywood in place of this.
Okay, now our panels had time to dry overnight. Let's take off our paint cans. There we go. Where this plywood is raw, we're going to come in there and put one little tiny row of brad nails to pin that down.
My neighbor gave me some Brazilian wood flooring to use. It's so beautiful. I made the top landing step out of it here, and that's what I'm cutting. Since all four sides are uneven and not the same width, I'm using my straight cut jig to cut one side. I'm drilling the pocket hole screws for the stair landing box. It's just going to be 4 pieces with one support in the middle. Now I'm drilling in the pocket hole screws in the stair landing box, so I'm just assembling it and getting it all glued and screwed together.
Okay, I've got a particular challenge here because I want to build stairs coming out this way at probably a 30-degree angle. So I have to measure that and then determine how long the leg should be so I know how long to cut it. That's the trick. So I need to have that on the outside, then I'll put my other support on the inside of that to help support it. So let's see if we can figure this out. Okay, now I have a piece cut for my sample. Okay, that looks pretty close. I do need about a 1/2 inch lip in here. This is the landing, and these are the steps I'm building. So I have 2 pieces of board cut at 30-degree angle at the bottom and at the top. They're clamped on right now for purposes of measuring. The distance between here is 15 inches. So I'm going to put in 2 steps here, and the 3rd step will be on the up to the landing. And we're going to finish up this little step, and the landing should be complete. Okay, so this technique is to do our stair landing. I'm assembling it upside down because I have my plywood support base and then the wood floor upside down. I've trimmed this piece of 1x4 to where it'll just allow the wood flooring to sit just below the edge of this on the other side. This is the right deal, the support will be fine, then we'll come back in and put the legs in. It'd be easier doing it this way. So this is the completed stair landing. This is the steps we just finished building. A little ladder, steps go up there. We're going to put our end pieces, our brackets on our cross members, our rails that'll end up holding the mattresses. So these are a pair of mattress rail brackets that I got at Rockland. They fit together and slap like this, so you'll have one end go on the rail and one end go on the end post, and these slide in and slide down and they just hold it. It's pretty simple, pretty easy. So since I have a 3/4 inch depth on my rails, I have a 5/8 inch screw. So I've set my drill bit, fortunately it's short enough, and so it'll bottom out before it gets to the 5/8, which is exactly what I want. So let's drill the pilot holes. Now for some pilot hole screws, we have these marked. So we're going to drill these here. Each of our brackets actually have 4 places for our screws. We'll screw these in and then come back and drill the pilots and put the other screws in. That way we'll know we have them in the exact spot.
Now I'm assembling the bed slat support on each of the bed rails. I am gluing and screwing it in. I later come in and put a dowel from the front side through that for decorative and strength purposes.
Alright, so I'm going to show you how I drill the dowel holes in the side rail. The purpose of this is on the side rail we have this 1 inch piece on the back that holds the slats for the bed, and so this dowel will be not only supportive but architecturally decorative. So I have marked the 5 spots we're going to do this. I have my jig set up where we know it's going to be hitting that right in the center of the little rail back there. So we view it to where it's in the center of our hole. Hold this flush and away.
So I'm drilling the dowel holes through the bed rail and through the slat rail in the back at the same time.
Okay, now we're going to glue the dowels in the holes. So I have these, I've sanded off the tips so they're a little bit easier to insert into the hole. You can either put some on the dowel or you can put some on in the hole, doesn't matter which one.
The next task is to flush cut the dowels and then to finish them off with my block plane.
Now the task is to put in the top rails that'll fit right here across there, and then we'll have the bed assembly done except for the little guardrails. In positioning this, I use my clamps to hold the board up in the right spot there, and then I pre-drill the holes in here. So now all I'm going to do is put So this is the side rail that we have 2 pieces of 1x4 attached with these 6-inch pieces in the middle. We have connected them by pocket hole screws. Now we're going to fill in these pocket hole screws. We do that, we'll flush cut them and then sand them flat, and they'll be good to go. So for the connectors, I made this little U-channel. It fits in, and the board can be raised, taken out to make the bed. And at the other end, it has the same feature. And so I made it at the height. The reason it's below this by 1.5 inches is so my daughter, who's shorter than I am, can stand on a stool and push out this side rail to remove it. So I have one last piece to glue on the ladder. This is the hook that will hold the ladder onto the bed frame for the upper bunk. And the other side over here, when you have to be precise, because this thing is going to slide right up over top of the frame. The other one was a little bit tricky, so I'm going to use the salt method. After I put a little glue on here, I'm going to salt on it to hold this tighter to the spot, because that other spot tended to migrate just a little bit. There we go. So I got my alignment there, got my bracket. You know, Dos Equis, when you have the most interesting bunk bed in the world. So we finally finished our build. Got removable front rails. They'll be taken off. All that's left is a little final sanding. And painting or staining, I'm leaving that up to my daughter to decide what she wants to do with that. Okay, now we're going to put casters on the crib. The crib's going to go under the bunk bed. So these are the casters, and these are the brakes just in case older brother wants to push it about. It's not a raceway, you know. So these are the little T-nuts that will drill a hole, and you hammer them in, and they go in, and then these guys screw right into that. That's to hold that securely. So we'll need to drill the hole the length of this screw bolt. To prepare the bottom of my bedpost for the casters, I have marked the X and here the center of that, and now I'm going to chamfer the edges of this just to give it a nice little finishing look. Alright, now I'm going to drill a pilot hole for my 3/8 inch hole. So I'm going to just start with this one. Make sure I get it straight. So I have my piece of tape marked on my drill bit for depth control. Once we have our hole drilled, we test fit to make sure that we have a proper depth for that, and that's fine. That bottoms out, and then we're going to come back in and put our T-nut in. All right, to put in the T-nut, it requires a 7/16 bit, just so this will fit in. 3/4 is the actual inside diameter of that, so I just need a little bit more, and this is all you need. Get your T-nut set in the hole. Hammer it puppy flat. And screw in your caster. That's all there is to it. There we go, a bunk bed. So if you liked our bunk bed build, be sure to give us a thumbs up. Come back and see me real soon.